fucking end of August.
Yeah, man.
The year just that wasn't. It just wasn't. There's no part of this that I feel like I participated in. I just, stayed at home. There's nothing. This year just didn't happen. I mean, yes, earth-shattering events occurred, and we're hurtling towards a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase and blah blah blah. But just what happened in this year that was just like, hey, I feel like I'm participating in the larger fucking society, whatever.
I saw fish a couple times. I mean, not that that's ever felt much like participating in the larger society, but I guess that was something interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
More than I did last year, I suppose.
I saw Black Widow over the summer.
That's nice.
I mean, I saw it at home. I didn't go to the theater, but
exactly, man.
But you know what? I was happy to do it.
You got to support small business, like
yeah, exactly.
If you have to pay them $30 just to do your part, then that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point I'm an accelerationist, but not in a grand political sense. Just for like the increasing rot of my own brain. I've just gone all in on just fuck it.
I'm going for the increasing rot of my own body. I'm trying to. What I try to do is take like bottles of alcohol and spill them and then soak it up with my liver.
Yeah, sure.
And so far, I mean, it's taken me through at least the end of this season, the end of this summer, so that's fine.
Is alcohol like absorbent, like porous, like theoretically, like if you bathed in like Everclear or something, would you?
Yeah, what would happen?
What would happen? I guess we'll have to decide. There's no way science can know, so we'll have to test it out.
We should do a crossover episode with Good Mythical Morning, and we'll see if we can do one of those. It's a bit of a fire hazard. If there's any kind of like very hot bulbs around or any sort of spark or, if anybody's smoking around there, you might get incinerated. There's actually a really fucked up video I saw it's from like the 1991 like Grand Prix or something like that, fucking somewhere. And they were, I don't know if they were running on alcohol or there was like a high alcohol gasoline or something like that. But long story short, there was a fire in the pit and everyone was like jumping around, but you couldn't see the flames because it was like pure alcohol and it was just like in the middle of the day. So all of a sudden you couldn't, as like the pit crew, you couldn't see it coming and you just like start jumping up and down because you realize you're on fire, but you don't even see that they're on fire. Is this called like spreading your trauma? Is that, like as a young kid saw that and it fucking freaked me out? Probably.
Spread it, baby. Just spread it.
Well, I've got some more if you're interested.
Hit us with it. Baby Dwight
today,
stories.
Dude. Today, listen, man. Today, really, it was so fucking hot today. It was like 99 degrees or something like that in Manhattan. And I covered a lot of ground on both scooter and bicycle. And, I've been reading a lot about this like wet bulb temperature, like this kind of like theoretical thing about how basically, in a certain relative humidity and a certain temperature, you lose the ability for your body to cool itself. And basically, even if you're sitting in the shade and even if you have unlimited amounts of like water, you'll die after a few hours. And there's only been like, there's a certain amount of like time and conditions or, temperature and conditions that this has occurred, at different weather stations around the world, mostly like parts of the Middle East and like Pakistan and Australia, parts of like Mexico and all that stuff. But it's a fucking terrifying thought to me because like, when like a day like today where it was like, I don't know, in New York, it was like 70 something % humidity, which is to me very fucking humid and near fatal because I was meant to be, behind a yoke of oxen in Finland or something like that biologically. But it's like, it's like, come on, look at me, man. The point is like, it's dreadful. Just like a dreadful feeling where you're just like, there's no amount of like evaporative cooling that will actually make me cooler because it's just so humid and so hot. And so, as we're thinking about, increasing weather events where it's just heat waves and high humidity, especially in a high humidity portion of the continent like the northeastern United States here. It's pretty fucking scary. Been thinking about that a lot.
Me and Carrie had to run some errands yesterday, and it was like 99 degrees plus or something. And we were outside for about, I don't know, like 30, 40 minutes, just walking like there and back. And by the time I got back, I was like soaked. And I went inside. I immediately stood in front of the AC, and I was like hot like hours later. Like I could feel like my whole body had
dude.
It was all like fucked up. And I was thinking, when I was a little kid, my grandparents lived in Florida, and so I would go down there over the summers, and they used to have these like, and I'm assuming that this still exists. I'm sure other people are familiar with them. But, you know, being in New York, even though as hot as it gets during the summer, it was, you know, particularly hot in Florida. And we would like get these little like hand fan things, like these tiny little plastic, you know, usually if you were out somewhere like at like a beach, or, you know, every once in a while we'd go to like a theme park or something, some kind of outdoor public event. There were always like vendors selling them really cheaply, you know, alongside like bottles of water and stuff, you know, for when you throw in like a couple batteries, and it's like a little crappy little plastic fan that will break down pretty much immediately or over the course of the day. But, you know, it's helpful to like, you wear them with like a lanyard around your neck or whatever, and just like point them right at your face. And I was thinking yesterday, like, I need to get like a crate of those just to like go like grocery food shopping or whatever.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, because it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
It's just so unpleasant. Like that's the part that I really fucking get spooked about, which is like, you know, what are the things? Okay, I'm, you know, would die if I was out there for another freaking, you know, 5 hours or whatever. Like, I'm just like, it's so terrifying to me as a guy that, let's just say, doesn't handle the heat all that well. But like, so in order for me to live or survive or just like live a comfortable life, like I have to be ferried into a series of environments that contains air conditioning or shade or hydration and stuff like that. And, you know, for those for those people that don't have that, or just like, you know, the however many thousands of homeless people that live in New York City, for instance, like that just doesn't exist, and it's 99 degrees, and there's like nearly no, you're just walking on nearly all impervious surfaces in the city, and you know, the city hasn't done a great job of creating trees and flora and stuff like that to absorb the heat. You know, so I think about the 10 million people that are about to be evicted as a result of the Supreme fucking Court decision. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like, I can't handle that. Like, I would not, I'm fortunate that I'm not in that position. But if I were, like, dude, I don't think I could fucking hack it.
You know, speaking about the city's homeless population, I was also like thinking, you know, over the summer we went to me and Carrie, we went to New York for the first time in quite a long time. You know, we met up with you and some friends and stuff, and we took care of some business. And you know, the new Penn Station train hall that's there, like. It's just staggeringly like anti-people, its design.
Oh yeah,
you know, like just like I like dude. it's unfucking believable. Because, you know, it's you know, the old Penn Station. I mean, the old Penn Station presumably was quite nice before they demolished it for whatever stupid fucking reason in the 1960s. Correct. And then the one that was basically been under Madison Square Garden, the one that I grew up with, was like awful, right? Because it was
insane.
It was just essentially like an extended subway hall, then with like a food court, you know, there was like a Sparrows and a Subway. It's just like submerged underground really horribly. And so then, you know, this new one, which is like occupying...
there's another new one other than that?
Yeah,
there's not a redesign of that. It's not like the same building.
It's
what's it called? Moynihan.
Yeah, it's Moynihan Train Hall, and it's adjacent to it's like in the same building. Across the street was the old post office,
right? Yeah,
from Madison Square Garden. So now
stairs,
it's so now it's like next to it, and you know, inside, you know, it's fully redesigned or whatever. It's got this kind of like weird, you know, sleek modern look, and there's not a single fucking bench in the entire facility, except there's a tiny little area for like, if you have you have to have a Amtrak ticket, and you can go in there, and you have to show the ticket, and they like screen you to go in, and you can sit down on these like tiny little, cordoned like individual seats, to prevent anybody from like, laying down or whatever. And it's so bad that like the times that I've been there now, whenever I'm approaching to go inside the building, outside on those steps of the old post office, that's where everybody's sitting. Everybody's just sitting outside.
That's so wild.
Because it's so awful in there. I mean,
do you think that they maybe like see that and they're like, hey, maybe we should think, like, does this tell us something? Should we reflect perhaps on why people are sitting outside? Or
alternatively, when you go inside, a lot of people are just sitting down all across the train hall as well, just on the floor and up against like the glass dividers that like lead to the different train tracks. And it's just if all that fucking money and not a single goddamn fucking bench. It's unbelievable.
Shane, it was only 1.6 billion. Okay, we do a lot more for that. Not a biggie.
You could buy a bench at IKEA for like $20. We should do a fundraiser and raise like $500 and just buy like 20 benches and just go and install them in the fucking train hall.
Shane, sure that would make, all of us more comfortable, but it wouldn't make the lives of people who are already homeless even more miserable, that's their goal, right? So
Right, of course.
We can't have the slightest bit of comfort. It's not about us.
No. If I just, looking at the picture of it now, if it weren't for like the 6 or whatever 8 escalators that are just in the middle of the floor.
I'm looking at a picture of it now, actually. Yeah,
it's absurd. It's really absurd. The scale of it is just insane.
I would think it's just an ice skating rink.
This is in the old post office building.
Yeah, it's sort of. It's like in the adjacent to the where the main floor is. Although I guess the main floor is probably redesigned as well. That was the only place I went into it. It's like on the side of that building. They like built the whatever this like annex thing that is.
Again, this was, and I'm reading this from the Moynihan Train Hall website. And I love this. They clearly haven't like updated this yet, because it says Amtrak and Long Island Railroad have a new home in New York City, a visionary project, a generation in the making, championed by Governor Andrew M. Cuomo. Moynihan Train Hall is city's newest grand civic icon. It's going to be great, and we're going to make sure nobody can sit down.
It's weird too, because they have like there's like I don't know if there's like a full food court, because again, the second that I was in there, I was like, fuck this, let's go find somewhere else to sit down while we wait for an hour for our train, because it was like absurd. But they definitely have places that like sell food. I don't know if it's like a full food court, but they have like some fast food stuff in there. So it's like, where the fuck are you supposed to eat this? You can't eat it on the train.
Like this is so funny, because like exactly. What do you just have to like stand?
You have to stand and eat like a hoagie.
Yeah, squeeze a ketchup packet between your knees or some shit.
Yeah, while you're carrying like luggage and shit.
But there's free Wi-Fi.
Oh, there you go.
There's free Wi-Fi, so you can stand and I love it. Locate the Wi-Fi icon on your mobile device or your laptop. You cannot create a lap unless you're sitting down. You have to make a lap. A lap doesn't just happen. You have to make the lap, and you have to sit down in order to make the lap.
Here, let me show you this image. This is the only little like seating area. This is what I described, and this is like
this looks like the lining of the intestine.
Yeah, you can only access this again if you have tickets. And it's very like they have like Wyatt Earp is fucking guarding the entrance to this tiny little area, and when we went in, because we went in, we had tickets, and we're like, okay, let's see if we can sit down. Of course, it was just like utterly crowded, and that wasn't even like a busy day, but it was at capacity.
This looks like the endoplasmic reticulum. It's like see, like it's like literally something that happens in nature. It was like you create folds to create more surface area, and so like instead of just like putting fucking benches outside in the train hall, they just put this in the, as you said, the ticketed waiting room. You must have tickets.
That's in big letters on the picture I'm seeing. Ticketed
exactly.
waiting room.
And so they just put you in this fucking like like upper in the fucking transverse colon or whatever the folds for you to sit on. How nice is that?
Yeah.
God damn it, man. Fucking $1.6 billion. Like, why can't we fucking have anything nice? That's That's in New York City. So that's $200 from every single New Yorker, including children.
That's right.
For, like, come on, man. Fucking, they can't even do this. And it's only for a fraction of, like, commuters that come in. And that's, because they come in from fucking Long Island and shit like that. And,
sure.
And Jersey into Long Island Railroad, or into the, Penn Station.
Oh, so this hasn't completely replaced the Penn Station under Madison Square Garden. This is just like, this is where the commuter lines come into? Is that the deal is with this mostly?
This is where again, from Philadelphia, this is where we came in on Amtrak. I don't know if the old one is still in use at all, or how it's working, but it's the only place to get into now. There's all these signs too that say like the gateway to New York City. It's just like hostility. Like, it really does feel hostile,
Yeah,
like
of course it's hostile. Yeah, that's the whole point. Because it used to. I was gonna say they used to at least let the homeless people sit on the stairs outside the post office building, but that's probably out now that they're using this building. Is that?
Oh, they probably have fucking RoboCop coming with like LiDAR.
Well, like I said, now there's like all the people who are waiting for their trains and shit are sitting out there.
Right.
So it's incredibly crowded. It's such a mess. It's just like on every level. And the weird thing too is like it's not even an argument about space, because as you can see, it's massive. Like you could retrofit. I wasn't kidding about like buying cheap benches and just installing them. You could easily retrofit that without even like disrupting service.
Yeah, that's right.
It would take nothing to do that. For a fraction of the cost of the entire project, you could put in a line of benches and some tables. Some areas to sit while you eat or while you're waiting or whatever.
But that Shane would take away, money from the contractor that would otherwise be putting in the Wi-Fi, which everybody loves and needs. People don't want benches; they want to stand and browse the internet and go on Instagram.
Maybe they should do like Wi-Fi. Floating chairs, like Wi-Fi enabled floating chairs. So if you're like an Amtrak Plus member or whatever, you can like lord it over everybody else. Like, you can only do Wi-Fi, but you have to be in motion. Like it reads your accelerometer in your phone, so you have to keep it moving. There's just like one giant floating throne that they stick Andrew Cuomo in, and he slowly decays like into Emperor Palpatine status, and he's just looking down. You will stand.
Dude, did you hear about his fucking dog?
Yes, I did.
I am
totally unsurprising. Yeah,
I know it's unsurprising, whatever. But like, yeah, I mean the deal was
I got this dog to meet girls. Apparently, I can't do that anymore. So,
oh man,
what's the point of having a dog? Yeah, he was. For those that don't know, I'm reading here from the National Post, which is definitely a reputable publication. But it's all over the place. Just the first one I clicked on said Cuomo's dog Captain was left at the governor's mansion as he moved out, and apparently he was like, apparently the dog bit a lot of people, but he was asking people like if they want to take him. Like that's some fucking sicko shit to me. That clearly he was just like, I'm a governor, I should have a dog, and it clearly meant fuck all to him.
Maybe like the night before Cuomo was leaving, he got into an argument with the dog, and the dog was like, I wish I didn't have a family, and then went to sleep in the attic or whatever, and then Home Alone style the next day there was like a big fracas of everybody like leaving, and then the dog emerged thinking that his wish came true, and now he's like hanging out in the, in the governor's mansion, like putting on aftershave and setting up traps for the incoming governor, who he thinks is like a burglar.
Of a white Christmas.
Maybe something along those lines happened.
I do love though, and I know this also in other presidential dog news. I love that Judicial Watch tweet that said, Judicial Watch announced today that it received 36 pages of records communications from the Secret Service that show that Biden's dog Major was responsible for numerous biting incidents of Secret Service personnel. I love this. One email notes at the current rate, an officer or agent has been bitten every day this week, the week being May 1st through 8th, causing damage to attire or bruising punctures to the skin. It's disturbing to see a White House cover-up of numerous injuries to Secret Service and White House personnel by the Biden's family pet.
I like the idea that there's like a what did you say? There's Judicial Watch. They should just do like Major Watch. Like a expose site. Do you guys remember Hog Watch?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. David Hogg.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He was one of the Parkland teens, right? And he became like an object of great scorn and anxiety for the American right, who were claiming he was a crisis actor, whatever, all wide variety of different claims or whatever to dispute
insane shit,
whatever gun control activism stuff. And so somebody had set up a website called Hogwatch.
Mm-hmm. I'm on it,
which is just a great name. If you think about the implications of that.
I mean, I did Google Hogwatch, but I think I got to a lot of Harley Davidson and like motorcycle enthusiast stuff. And then I added a G when I realized that was my problem.
Yeah.
And but I'm looking at hogwatch.com now, and it's just like a startling amount of stuff about Jamal Khashoggi. And then about My Pillow, which I guess is about all we deserve.
Yeah.
I really can't stop thinking about the Supreme Court thing with the them basically throwing out the Biden administration moratorium on evictions, and it's just like. I mean, I'll just for those that aren't familiar, I'll just read here real quick of an article that came out. It was updated today anyway. It said Supreme Court ends Biden evictions moratorium. The ruling followed political and legal maneuvering by the administration to retain protections for tenants. It puts hundreds of thousands at risk of being put out in their homes. It says the Supreme Court on Thursday rejected the Biden administration's latest moratorium on evictions, ending a political and legal dispute during a public health crisis in which the administration's shifting positions had subjected it to criticism from The court issued a 8-page majority opinion, an unusual move in a ruling on an application for emergency relief, where terse orders were more common. The court's 3 liberal justices dissented. But again, so anyway, it's just fucking insane to me that here is the kind of long-term conservative project of, the Heritage Foundation and what's that fucking what's the legal one, the Legal Conservative Foundation?
Federalist?
No. They pick Supreme Court justices.
Federalist
and shit
Society?
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is,
right?
Yeah, right.
The Federalist Society. Yeah. I was thinking the Federalist, the fucking Megan McKean, husband's fucking rag. Anyway, the Federalist Society. That's right. So this is the long-term project of them and the Heritage Foundation and Mitch McConnell and all of the donors and shit like that. And if this isn't a payoff for them, this is what their return on investment looks like.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Putting millions of Americans out of their homes. That allows, for a maybe a temporary depression of the housing market for them to snatch it up already on the backs of, a year in which we saw an enormous increase of private equity funds purchasing homes, purchasing entire subdivisions, purchasing entire sectors of homes, entire neighborhoods in some cases in Southern California and Texas and all that stuff. Again, it just makes for a very convenient opportunity or business opportunities for capital to kind of snatch up this sort of thing, and that's exactly the kind of conservative project that enables this, right? Six justice majority, all very conservative. You could argue Roberts is at least center right or something like that, but you got some real fucking.
He's the moderate, yeah.
Exactly, which isn't saying much. But I mean, you got some real fucking psychos and sickos now on the court, and this is exactly what's paid off. This they're okay with this.
You know what I call the 6 Supreme Court justice, conservative majority. The Sinister Six.
Is that a Marvel reference?
No, never fucking mind.
Yeah, well, let me
never,
I'm gonna Google it. Hold on,
never mind.
Give me the respect of Googling
we'll give you a chance. Hold on a second.
The Sinister Six. It is a fucking Superman comic.
No, Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man movie that's coming out is presumably going to have a multiverse Sinister Six in it.
Oh, that's good. Good for them. Can I be one of them?
No.
For Halloween?
Oh, sure, absolutely for Halloween.
Is there anyone particular that you would recommend for me to be?
Oh, yeah. Just in a general sense, or which, like, out of the ones likely to appear in the film, which do I think you'd be closest to?
No, in a general sense.
In a general sense, I think I could see you as the Lizard.
All right.
And I could maybe see you as maybe Dr. Octopus.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Is it because he looks cool in sunglasses, or?
Well, yeah, he's sort of, he's like a intellectual type,
Is that what you think of me?
Well, I mean, it's either that or a bank robbing crook. I don't know.
Ooh,
I call that one.
Do. Yeah, I could get down with Dr. Octagon. I mean, I think the things I could accomplish. That's the one.
Thank you, Dwight, because I also immediately heard Dr. Octagon as in the Kool Keith album. Yeah,
wasn't there a yeah, exactly.
Chris, I could picture you as either the Vulture or the Shocker. Those are the two that I would.
The Shocker.
Yeah, he does electric shocks.
Okay. Silk the Shocker.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the the Shocker.
Yeah. Well.
I was thinking about Silk the Shocker from, New Orleans.
Yeah.
The rapper. I could get down with Dr. Octagon. I'm not certain on the intellectual portion, but...
All right, now you don't get him. Now, because you continue to say his name, you've been stripped of your Dr. Octopus privileges. I'm demoting you to fucking Electro. You're Electro now.
Ooh, I'm into Electro. Tell me about Electro. I'm Googling him now.
In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, he's a janitor who gets bitten by electric eels, and then gets mad at Spider-Man because Spider-Man forgets his birthday.
Oh, so he worked at an aquarium or something like that?
Yeah, he worked at Oscorp Industries.
Right.
Yeah.
They're outside of Paramus.
Yeah. Anyway.
I gotta say, you know what nobody talks about? That there
are
Sinister
Six, but...
Yes.
Apparently.
There are electric catfish.
Okay.
In the same way that there's electric eels, there are electric catfish that have bioelectricity. And nobody talks about that enough, that occasionally catfish are electric and can shock you. And I love this.
I heard that in the Trump voice. The flying fake news media.
They're trying to tell us that catfish are now electric. Did you hear they're electric? They said, you're going to get shocked by a catfish. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Excuse me. I said I wanted to have blackened catfish sandwich.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for the Sinister Six, and there's one called Kraven the Hunter, who I clicked on. Are you familiar with this one? Who apparently is, I'm reading from the Wikipedia here, his real name is Sergei Kravenov. He is a Soviet immigrant, the son of an aristocrat who fled to the United States with his family in 1917 after the Russian... After the Russian nobility was decimated by the February Revolution.
They're making a movie about that guy too.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I've never heard of this
starring what's his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson. He was in a bunch of other superhero shit that you won't recognize, so I won't mention.
Is he an NFL player? He was in
Kick-Ass, and he played Quicksilver in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
And they're having the CIA advise on the production of the film.
Yeah, probably.
Just want to get the facts straight about the
Kraven the Hunter. We don't want to spread any misinformation about Kraven the Hunter. That's for sure.
Jesus Christ! Should I get into the Marvel? What's it called? The Marvel comics?
Sure. All right.
That fucking bad start. I don't have time for this shit. I'm just sitting here with fucking... I did yesterday. I incurred another wet bulb syndrome. It took me fucking like 3 hours to put up a handful of blinds and shit like that. And it was like, again, the top floor of a New York City building, which is just like, it's just an oven. It's just an oven. The sun bakes the roof, which then, creates a convection oven in the top floor. It's fucked up, man. How did anybody... Did you ever read, Shane, I'm sure you've heard of this at some point, that there was an Arthur Miller essay about New York and about like the heat in New York?
I actually don't think I've read that.
What the fuck? Where is it? Fucking... Hang on one second. Heat, sleeping... I remember him writing about this. Yeah, that's right. It was an essay that he wrote in 1998 for the New Yorker called Before Air Conditioning. And it's just like, it's really, really fascinating. I want to see if I can find... I just want to read like a little part of it, which I thought was like really interesting. Again, so he wrote this in 1998, and it said, even though the nights, the pall of the heat never broke, with a couple of other kids, I would go across 110th to the park and walk among the hundreds of people, singles and families, who slept on the grass next to their big alarm clocks, which set up a mild cacophony of the seconds passing. One clock's ticks syncopating with another's. Babies cried in the darkness, men's deep voices murmured, and a woman let out an occasional high laugh beside the lake. I can only recall white people spread out on the grass. Harlem began above 116th Street back then. And I just thought that was like so interesting. And, they're talking about like how in the heat of the city before, like, an early, or I guess, early to mid 20th century New York City, when there was no like popular air conditioning in people's homes, that there was a lot of just like outdoor sleeping just to kind of break heat and at least try to get some sleep. Sure. And that's just like, I would probably die thinking about just like trying to catch sleep in Central Park at night and having a fucking rat drag its tail across my snout or something like that. It just seems
I got news for you, buddy. There's rats inside.
Yeah, okay. There's rats inside the White House.
they're already crawling across me while I sleep. So
no,
Fuck,
that's brutal, man.
I was, I went to the local CVS the other night, and ever since the start of the pandemic, and we've kind of talked about this a lot, but like, at the very start of the pandemic, there was the kind of like the run on all the stores for different supplies, and or shelves were bare or whatever. Then as that last year progressed on a little bit, and at least in our area, there was like a few months of like just a kind of like, the supply chain had broken down and there wasn't stuff available. But then it started to kind of come back to normal. But I've noticed over the last 6 months or so, it's gone back into a state, at least locally for me here in the area of West Philadelphia, I'm in, to like just kind of getting more and more threadbare and like things not really being available. And and I've talked about it on the show, like I think even in one of the most recent episodes, like, that's fine. Like, I don't necessarily need, as long as like the essential things that are there that you need to get. Like, do I need like every variety of Pepsi at the fucking, right, available to me like 24/7? Probably not. But in the particular pharmacy here, there was like a bunch of the coolers are now like broken, and like the ones where they have like drinks and stuff, and and I was buying like a soda, and the one that I wanted was in the broken cooler, and I opened it up, and it was so fucking, it was like an oven in the thing, because it was so hot
with like
out.
the lights in there and shit,
and it's sealed, right? So it's like there's nowhere for any of that heat or whatever to go. It's not, like there's no air circulating through it, and all of the soda bottles and stuff in there were like sticky, and like the fucking everything, like the thing, they were warping, the plastic on it was like warping and melting. And I was just like, I guess this is just what stores are gonna be like now. Like, that's just it. Like, it's not really gonna go back. I don't think so, at least. And again, I've made my peace with it, and it's not like that was a necessary thing for me to get anyway at that particular moment, right? I wasn't in dire need of getting a fucking cherry soda or whatever it was that I was trying to get, but like, it did hit me like, oh yeah, it's just probably gonna like be like this from now on, and as things get hotter, it'll just be like, even worse.
I mean, again, like, I'm very happy as a American consumer not to have like the Cookie Crisp with the marshmallow version or some shit like that. Like, I would much rather like get rid of those things of the, the quote choices that capitalism gives me. If it meant that, like, my children would have a livable planet to live on. But it, like,
I don't know, those Cookie Crisps are really good.
Fuck, I do like the Cookie Crisp. I miss the Rice Krispies treat cereal. Nobody talks about that. I loved those, but I don't think they exist anymore. Anyway, the point is, like, literally one of the ways that we could slow climate change is just to work less.
Sure.
Like, just to decrease the amount of people that are commuting, just, not being as productive with certain things. Like, just stop, ravaging the earth just to fucking, create some, more fucking capital efficiency on a balance sheet somewhere. Like, it would be fine with me if we just, like, worked 15 hours a week or something. Most of us do, like, if you're not, like, doing an hourly job where you're, like, customer facing or something like that, you're more, based in, like, the service economy or something. Like, nobody works 40 hours a week, really. Like, what the fuck is the point of just, like, keeping you there? I'm hearing horror stories of people being just, like, mandated to go into the office for basically no other reason than it's like, well, we've paid for the lease for, 3 years or something like that with the, the real estate company developer or whatever. So, we got to make use of the square footage. So get your ass back in the office, basically. Like, it's fucking murderous. Again, like, if you think about even just, like, an acute recovery that we need, which is, like, getting over a pandemic, a lockdown, or paying people to stay home, or, mandating employers to send people home if they're able to do their jobs from home, would be like a huge leg up in not spreading the virus. But even that is like a bridge too far. And the only way that, the Biden administration is basically coping with this is just to have people say, like, you're not getting your vaccines. You're not getting your vaccines. You're not getting vaccines, which obviously, it would be important. But come on, fucking hello.
So, yeah, I'm speaking of working less. I wanted to talk a little bit about Nabisco and the ongoing strike because it was sort of relevant as a follow-up to the episode that we did last week on KKR. And I prepared some stuff for it, but then it seemed like it didn't really fit in the mold of that particular episode because we were talking specifically about KKR. But as a starting point, right? There's an ongoing strike of Nabisco workers in this country, and as of yesterday of recording, more facilities and factories have joined the strike, or workers at those places have joined the strike, bringing it to a total of, I believe, like 6, both the actual like bakeries and food factories, as well as like distribution centers across the country. It's like over 1,000 workers now are striking, and there's a whole host of reasons why, including like a few years ago, I guess. The parent company of Nabisco, and I'll talk about them in a second, like removed their pension plans a few years ago. And then, over the course of the pandemic, they've been like shutting down facilities and moving facilities to different places to kind of skirt, the deals and contracts they had with their workers in the United States. And so as a result, over the last couple of weeks, a strike has occurred, and it seems to be growing. It seems to be on the upswing. It's gotten, a lot of vocal support and a lot of public attention, in part because of, again, a few politicians like, Sanders and others have, spoken in support of the strike. There was the Danny DeVito thing that happened.
Yes.
I just noticed he got his check back.
Oh, did he?
Just checking, yeah.
Please explain what happened there.
Well, he let me get the exact tweet up.
I got it right here. He said, support Nabisco workers striking for humane working hours, fair pay, outsourcing jobs, no contracts, no snacks. And Danny DeVito doesn't post from his Twitter account very often, but it just so happened that he lost his verification check mark the same day he posted that. He's now got it back mysteriously. But
and they said, I believe Twitter put out a statement putting out a statement saying that like part of his user registration was incomplete, like you didn't have an email address. It's so clear bullshit. Clearly bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, that strike is growing, and of course the connection to KKR is, as we talked about in that episode last week, right, is that Nabisco was the centerpiece of this like huge leveraged buyout thing that happened in the 80s that at the time was like the largest one ever. And then like over the next few years, because as we had mentioned in that episode, right, KKR is not in the business of doing any of the things that the companies they buy up do. Their goal is to just like strip them apart and try to sell them to make money, right?
Right.
And so Nabisco was in shambles for like quite a while as a result of that. And they were like stripping, splitting off this part of it and that part of it, whatever, to selling it piecemeal to different companies. And then eventually it was acquired by Kraft. So it got kind of wrapped up in Kraft Foods. And then later Kraft became they just changed their name to Mondelez International Inc.
Yes.
Which is funny because when you first see Mondelez, it gives the impression of like, oh, this is a internationally based company. It sounds like maybe sort of Latin in origin, right? But it's just a American made up name essentially,
right?
To rebrand Kraft. Yeah. And then speaking of them, when I was looking into it, right. Here, let me drop this in the chat here. I was looking at it because, Nabisco is just one of many of the companies and food brands and stuff that Mondelez operates. And of course, like any huge fucking multinational, it owns so many different things. So I'll just read off this list here. So it has Nabisco, Ritz, Triscuit, Wheat Thins, Snackwells, Oreo, Nutter Butters, Honey Maid, Teddy Grahams, Fig Newtons, Chips Ahoy, Sour Patch, Crunchy. It also has like Trident, a bunch of gum stuff, Chiclets. It also owns Kool-Aid, Capri Sun, just like a whole list of stuff. Polly-O cheese, Philadelphia cream cheese, Jell-O, Miracle Whip. All different kinds of snacks. And then there was one in particular I noticed. If you look at this graphic in the top left, there's a brand that they own called Côte d'Or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's that?
And the logo
like Gold
for
Coast?
Yes, the logo for it is an elephant, and I thought that looks weird. What's up with that? So apparently that is a it was originally a Belgian chocolate company that was started in the 1880s, and it was named after the Gold Coast. It was the French name for the Gold Coast, and it was because it's where they were getting the chocolate from, right? And that was making me then think of the Ivory Coast, and we talked about the Ivory Coast and Nestle when we did that episode. And would you believe it? Earlier this year in February, this organization called International Rights Advocates, right, did a press release where they were trying to launch a suit against a whole variety of companies for child slavery in that region, right? That you discussed at length when we did that episode on Nestle, Dwight. And the companies that were included here were Nestle, Cargill, Mars, Hershey, Barry Callebaut, Olam, and Mondelez International. So,
oh my god!
So
why we can't fucking get away with this shit, man?
yeah. So I just thought, again, just as a follow-up to kind of both of those episodes, the interesting threads and connections, or simultaneous to trying to fuck their workers over in the United States, and of course they're running interference now with the whole strike thing. If you look up Nabisco strike on Google, the first thing that comes up, let me get it in front of me because I wanted to mention this because it came across during my research. The very first thing is an ad. It says Nabisco workers are on strike. Get the facts, and it's a link to negotiations.mondelezinternational.com.
Oh my god!
So they paid to have a thing that says like hey, we're the good guys here. We're trying to settle this amicably and do everything right. And it's just these pesky unionizers
Get the facts.
Are trying to get in the way of the family relationship that we've built here at the child slave chocolate international empire that we've built.
Exactly. I like. I'm reading in here, and I like how they're like, our offer to the union committee included no change to healthcare benefits for current employees.
Right. The idea was that was part of the one of the things that spurred the strike is that new employees are going to have much shittier benefits all around.
Yeah, and again, all these are totally vague. Annual wage increases, by how much? Ratification bonus, how much? Increase to the 401k match, how much? Like, that's the point of like a union negotiation, is to like put dollars and cents to those things and demand those concessions. Of course, they don't want to give any of that shit. Yeah. It's incredible to me. No U.S. jobs went to Mexico related to the Atlanta and Fair Lawn closures. Again, so they're just like, we closed it. They're just saying,
in the middle of the pandemic, they closed down these two factories and laid off hundreds of workers.
But don't worry, those jobs did not go to Mexico. No. They're just like, hey, letting you know, like, hey, it wasn't like spiteful. Don't worry, Mexicans aren't getting your jobs.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's
Jesus
then
Christ.
You frame it in this like racialized way, and again, just pulling apart. It's like unsurprising, right, that they're also involved in this like supply chain thing that we brought up during Nestle. In terms of sourcing for, a lot of the other products and snacks that they have in there. And it was so bizarre, and I do recommend it to the listener. Presumably, I'm assuming this is not very widely available in the United States, the Côte d'Or chocolates, because I've never seen them. And I'm a big boy. I like my snacks, you know what I mean? I see a snack, that goes in the snack bank. You know what I'm saying?
You got me hungry with this list of corporate conglomerate to subsidiaries.
Yeah, so it was very surprising to me that it's just such a clear like colonial like gaze like a branding and packaging for a product that you would assume it's so gauche, it's so old world that you would have changed it. I mean, they changed the name of fucking Kraft to Mondelez International in a rebranding attempt. You think they changed the name of like the vaguely racist snack, but apparently that's an ask too far. Perhaps it's big in Europe. I'm unclear.
Now, Shane, I don't think an American cookout is good unless it has a burger topped with a Kraft single American cheese product.
That's right.
Sickening.
Gotta pay the bills, guys. So, hey guys, did you have looking forward to some burgers this Labor Day?
I was disappointed also to see that among their products is original premium crackers, which are those like those large green tins of like plain soda crackers. That I do quite enjoy while I'm in bed. I'll just lay around and just eat handfuls of those fucking things. But I will not be
no water.
No, exactly. Just stale, flavorless fucking crackers just being chewed in my ruined mouth. But no longer. In support of the strike.
If it's good enough for recovery from a surgery, it's good enough for me if I'm just snacking.
Mm-hmm. Another weird thing too. Just it was slightly unrelated to all this other stuff, but I realized too. A1 sauce is one of the subsidiary products in this like huge conglomeration of all these different things, and apparently there was like some restaurant, some like small like steakhouse or whatever, a while back that like came out with like an A2 sauce. It was like their own like version of the sauce, and somehow someone at Nabisco found out about it, so they like sued them, and the court found in favor of Nabisco.
Of course, yeah, because they got fucking an army of 60 white hat lawyers to like fucking just crush this one steakhouse.
It doesn't really like it doesn't really communicate strength that you're threatened by somebody else's sauce. Like who gives a shit, right? If you were like if you're proud about the merits of your product or whatever, you wouldn't like fucking hound down anybody who made an alternative sauce.
Exactly. I'll tell you what. I think we can forgive a lot of their ills, and I'm going to pose a challenge to the board of directors of Mondelez International that I would like to challenge them, and they're going to go first. I'll go last, just to give them, hopefully that'll give them a bit of luck. I would like for them to do the crate challenge. And then I'll go last. They'll go first, but if they make it over, then
what is the crate? What is the crate challenge? I've seen people joking about it, but I haven't seen a clear explanation of what it is.
Buddy, it's great. So just like milk crates, like crates that
I'm very familiar with milk crates. Yes,
good. I don't know why, but
they are objects from my reality that I recognize, and I point at them and I go, "Oh, look at that milk crate."
So. They basically the idea is that you stack one in front of the other, but you've got like a steps. So you take one milk crate right in front of you, and then behind that you do 2, and then behind that you do 3, behind that 4, 5, and 6. I think it goes up to like I'm trying to find one so that I can show you guys what it is. But eventually it's like you're actually pretty high off the ground. You're like 6-7 feet off the ground or something like that. And I gotta show you this one. And so when you get to the top, I mean, there's a fucking recipe for disaster. And of course, the crates are not like, bolstered by each other, being next to each other. They're still like laterally completely, fragile as far as their balance goes. And you could fuck your shit up. I'm thinking a lot of.
Wait, so it's just, is it just climbing milk crates? Is that the challenge?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's easy. That's so easy for me.
You think so? No,
I don't so. I know so. Go on.
I'm thinking a lot of broken clavicles, wrists, probably some ribs.
That was the article I saw, and that was the only thing I've seen about it was people getting like broken bones and shit and hurt.
I saw a quote tweet from friend of the show Ed Angueso from he quote tweeted this video. I just put it in the Discord now for you guys to watch of a cop doing this. I think it was in like, for some reason I think it was in Stockton, California. Somebody
came up and kicked it. Yeah, that rules.
Somebody.
Oh my god, that's so
good, dude. Somebody kicked one of the fuck stacks of crates out from underneath them.
That's
and
pretty
this
good.
guy,
That is pretty good.
let's just say he's on disability for.
So good.
I like Ed tweeted it and he wrote community outreach. Oh my god, it's so good, dude. It's so good. Yeah, I think we should see. It'd be great if we saw, if you're a cop and you're listening, you should try it. You should go to your local park and give it a go and see if you like it. Show off some of your athletic ability that you used to have in high school, and it's probably a lot of fun. You should
I think it would be far more impressive to leap over the mountain of milk crates. I think that really ought to be the challenge. I'm not here making some veiled reference to police officers injuring themselves further. That's a separate conversation to have. I just think in terms of actual prowess, I would be much more impressed if I saw someone leap all of those crates in a single bound than simply climbing them. Climbing them is child's play. It would be immaterial to me to climb that many milk crates.
If I have my 4 or 6 or whatever, or maybe it's 8 because he's an octopus. As I'm Dr. Octagon, if I use those other appendages, do you think I'll have a better chance of getting over there?
No, you were absolutely demoted. You're Electro, and as Electro, you would be pure electrical energy. So the idea that you would even attempt to scale anything physically would be nonsensical. You could just shoot yourself around through outlets.
But electrons move at the speed of light, so I could presumably go pretty quick.
That's possibly true. It's impossible to say if it's true or not, but
right.
I guess so. Sure, yeah. Yeah.
If you perhaps made like 2 slits in a wall or something like that, and I as a ray of electrons, but if no one was looking,
yes, okay,
I'd be a little bit different. I might perhaps act as a wave.
Very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
speaking of Spider-Man and milk crates, a few months ago, I saw a video somebody had posted at the I guess at whatever, one of the Disney parks. I always forget which one is Disney World or Disneyland, but they have like a Marvel area now. They have like I think it's called like the Avengers Campus, where they're going to have like Marvel themed rides and shit. And because there's only so much, I guess, you could do with that. They're also going to have like little shows, how they do shows at theme parks. And so somebody posted a video of like one of the inaugural shows. It was like right after there was like the big opening, in the midst of COVID or whatever. Disney was like opening again or whatever the exact parameters of it were. But the show was just like a guy in a Spider-Man suit just like on top of a building. And of course, the end of the thing is like he does a swinging move. But because that needs to be like set up, you can't do that for like multiple minutes. So for the whole lead up to him doing the like swinging maneuver thing is just like he's just like hanging out on the building and doing like very lame gymnastics and there's like a pre-recorded thing piping out of the speakers and make it seem like he's talking to the crowd. And he's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Spider-Man," and he's just like doing like a little like like rolling on the ground, and he was sort of like bending over crates, not even like doing impressive parkour or whatever. And it was just so clear. It's just like there's no strategy here. Like there's no plan. No. Like they have no idea what to do with this. They're
put him up on the building.
Yeah. Let me see if
when
I can
I'm
find
Doctor.
that video.
Oh no,
really
when
good.
I'm Electron, I'm gonna do a lot better than that. Fuck, these people got fucked up on these milk crates, huh?
Here's a little bit of the. If you just go to the middle of this and you just like, you just click through, and he's just like rolling around.
What the
and
fuck,
stuff.
Shane? This is so sad.
And the best part is, there's like everybody is like watching this. They're like socially distanced. They have like the masks on, and they're like filming it on their phones and like applauding every time the Spider-Man guy like does like one little like flip or whatever. It's highly amusing.
This is really bleak.
Yeah,
this is really bleak.
Yeah, dude. That's it.
Damn. This is what it was all about. This is what we were going for.
Mm-hmm. The sum total of all of the accumulated wealth just hoarded in the center of Empire, so we could like watch like a person do like a couple of like bad flips or whatever.
Oh God, we are in for it. We deserve it all.
We should all go. We should go together as a group, the three of us, do a little excursion, go to this park, see that Spider-Man show, turn to each other and be like, well, like the guys on the Titanic playing the quartet or whatever, like, it's been an honor, gentlemen, and then just blow our fucking brains out.
Just all over the fucking Magic Kingdom or whatever, where the hell we are. Yeah.
All right, why don't we call it here? Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Fuck. All right, friends. Jesus Christ. Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Good God. Bye. Stay cool.
Dr. Octagon, paramedic fetus of the east with precinct from the church of the operating room with the strikes of force, scalpel since the Holocaust. I do indeed and greed, explore, meet the patients, back the rooms with the nurse with the voodoo curse. Holding up office lights, standing at huge heights, back and forth, left wing, swing to north, east and south with blood pouring down your mouth. I come prepared with the white suit and stethoscope, listen to your heartbeat, delete, beep, beep, beep. Your insurance is high, but my price is cheap. Look at the land. Blue flowers, growing by the purple pond. See the polka dots. Blue flowers, growing by the purple pond. Yellow indigo. Blue flowers, growing by the pond. Look, it's raining yellow. Would you care to listen to any more? Thank you. Holding bags on down right from the hospital. It's a patient is worth to keep the germs off the turf. Cybernetic microscopes and metal antidotes. 2 telescopes that magnifies eyes of a roach. 3 computers, a cup of coffee, planning with my hand and astral planet detached. Turn on rare foggers. Cut the light on the kid and turn it bright on. Supersonic waves.